It is clear to everybody and anybody in entertainment news or anything right now that the comic book industry is literally in the toilet. No matter how many may come out to try and tell you, no, it's never been better. They're making so much money. It's so fantastic. And they're sweating while they're just lying through their teeth. So does that mean it's clear that the industry is just in a state. And the thing that most people attribute this to is the whole woke factor that has taken over entertainment on the whole. Now, while I will say that wokeness, if I could call it that, wokeness is a major part of what is causing this downward spiral, if you will, when it comes to entertainment. I wouldn't say that it's the sole reason for it. I wouldn't say that is the sole reason for it. Wokeness is a symptom of what's going on. And someone else has come out and said the exact same thing, and I must agree a lot with what Chuck Dixon, legendary writer Chuck Dixon, man who made Tim Drake Robin a household name and a fan favorite before Megan Fitzmartin screwed that up. Guy who created Bane and all this other stuff has come out and said his take on why he thinks the comic book industry is just suffering right now. This article here from Bounding Into Comics. Former DC writer Chuck Dixon says wokeness by itself isn't what is killing comics. Let's go through what he has to say. Looking at the modern media landscape, many of us and our devoted readers determine that wokeness is what's killing so much of our entertainment and pop culture. Yeah, including comics, the medium which arguably will go down as patient zero for this trend, with blandly sophomoric and agenda-driven storytelling. However, a tenured pro witnessed the decline, is saying not so fast on that diagnosis. In episode number 134 of his Q&A series, Chuck Dixon was asked his opinion about the comic book industry and what form it could take if it wasn't for woke content, and his answer might surprise you. I don't think it would be all that different, he said, adding that in his view, it was people lacking talent gaining power that sparked the decline. 100% agree with that. Talentless people were being hired simply to fill quotas and to tick boxes, and they in turn just fell in with this whole woke movement that was being pushed. If you look at it, when it comes to comics, a lot of these heroes are getting race swapped, sexuality swapped, all kind of things, and the comics will focus mostly on that factor. But when you look at the rest of it, the talent when it comes to writing, I think is just gone. You just look at something like X-Men. X-Men has just declined now to the point where nobody cares about what it is anymore. Simply because rather than making good stories about these interesting characters that you have literally had decades to build up on, you have talentless, emotionally stunted nitwits who live on Twitter, talk to only people on Twitter, and figure that these people make up the vast majority of the world. And that's why you keep getting garbage. Continues on. They only latched on to wokeness later, Dixon says, and then began hiring others who have a stronger embrace of the ideology, at least on the surface. They are clear because a lot of these people do not actually believe in these woke ideologies that they keep pushing in comics. But in order to stay employed, in order to not get blacklisted, they have to fall in and say, listen, we're in this with you, even though we don't care to be. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is just job security. He continued on. You've got to go along, you've got a lockstep, you've got to march along with the rest. You've got to raise your fists in anger with everybody else, even if you don't feel angry because you don't want to be. You want to You want to conform, and that's what it's about. It's about conforming, exactly. Dixon elaborated, it's about bending the knee, and in order to keep their jobs, a lot of the people in charge, particularly Marvel and DC, conform because you can't be speaking out, you lose your job. Now I spoke earlier about how Chuck Dixon was the man who really developed Tim Drake Robin, who made him the Robin that people really enjoyed before Megan Fitzmartin came along and did this. This was a big contribution to Robin. Let's make him bisexual, even though we all know it's gay, because all these so-called heroes that they claim, male heroes that they claim, are now bisexual, despite decades, literal decades of them being straight and never even once having a straight thought in their mind. You understand me? Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown, spoiler, was a fan favorite. They abandoned that to fuck him up with Bernard. And they claim that these heroes are bisexual, but you will never see them even watch a woman ever again. That's what they do. They'll never watch a woman again. But this is what they're out there trying to push. This is the big thing that DC has done with Tim Drake Robin. This is it. They haven't made him interesting. Nothing they've done with him other than just run out there, scream that he's now bisexual, and just completely destroy him as a character. You don't see him doing anything interesting. His comic that was running is just absolute and utter dog shit that has already been cancelled because nobody wants to read this. Continue on. So I think wokeism just filled the void of indifference that most of the editors and administrative people accountable companies were feeling you. They didn't care about the product anymore. So someone who did care, not about the product, but about their message, came to fill in. I don't think comics would be woke. I don't think comics would be wokeism isn't killing comics, he said. It's a symptom. Many things killed American comics. And everything he says here is exactly true. Eh? Poor business decisions. Very poor business decisions. Indifference. A failure to produce quality material. A chasing away of top creators. Yeah. Poor business decisions means that instead of producing comics that people will enjoy, no, tell them, go to hell, we don't need you anymore. Let's go search for a new phantom audience. They will love us. Then they're just indifferent to everything. They don't care what you like. They want to do what they like, and they pretty much hate you and expect you to like the fact that they hate you. Really? Because you need only look at like Spider-Man fans. They're literally telling Spider-Man fans to just go to hell. They will mess up his relationship with Mary Jane, make a couple hundred versions of him, and just destroy his credibility. All because they don't like you, and they're indifferent to the fact that they don't care that they don't like you. A failure to produce quality material. That is a conversation all on its own. The garbage that is being produced now, that they are calling comics, would have never flown 15, 20 years ago. Never would that have even ever been a thing. And then chasing away of top creators. You have people who actually excellent in the industry, like Chuck Dixon, who you won't hire because why? They don't align with your twisted views. Instead, you keep hiring lowbrow hacks who just keep making rubbish. If you want an actual example of lowbrow hacks, there's one. Tom Taylor writing John Kent Superman, DC's gay little Superman, and they're claiming his bisexual but really gay. Literally every 2 issues, he's always making out with his boyfriend or coming out of the closet. And then you had Tom Taylor actually come out and say that, John being bisexual is much more heroic than him actually fighting supervillains or saving people. These are the kind of talentless hacks that you are hiring. And you're wondering why the industry is just collapsing in on itself.
Oh, yeah, boys.
Dixon went on, Marvel and DC created their own competition by chasing away top talent who were not going to go gentle into that good night. You got top talent people at the peak of their powers are going to keep doing comics, and they're going to do them for whoever will pay them to do them. Or, as you've seen in recent years, they'll find a way to finance themselves, and that's who DC's and Marvel's competition is. It's death of 1,000 cuts. Here, a lot of comic book creators, a lot of comic book greats have started doing their own independent comic book works, starting their own companies. Understand me? We have Indiegogo, crowdfunding, all these things that they're doing. Let's not forget Eric July's Rippaverse, which made a startling amount of money on just the first issue of ISOM 1. The whole campaign that ran, he funded that on his own and made back for about 3 to 5 times what he put out. Understand me? That's to tell you, people want quality material, not garbage. But when you have Marvel saying, you know what, let's produce a comic where we have Spider-Woman, right? Spider-Woman here, and she's pregnant. And this ran for how many issues? She was riding around fighting crime while pregnant. How does that work? I don't know. Who are you trying to empower with this? This is just ridiculous and stupid. But that's what they did. That's what they did. Dixon added all of these top talent writers and pencilers and inkers and colorists that Marvel and DC have let go are stealing their audience, and not really stealing it because they abandoned their audience. Yes, they did. The final straw of wokeism entered the picture at that point, with the new creators making up the vanguard of DC and Marvel, demanding their readers change. Rather than do that, they stopped buying their comics, as they were invited to do by Kelly Sue the comic. Yeah, we went with Kelly Sue the comic. Well, she came on and said, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. And when people stopped buying it, she literally had a freaking panic attack, because that was the madness she was doing. She was driven by politics, but Dixon doesn't care. If you like my comics, God bless you. He says, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Comics are for everybody. But no, you're out there telling people, listen, if you don't like my politics, if you do not agree and conform to what I am doing, don't buy anything that I have. You waste of time, creep. And when you tell your fans that, they walk away, and this is what you're left with. Even have this here with Falcon as Captain America that nobody asked for, but that's what they were doing. So I 100% agree with what Chuck Dixon has said here in this article. I believe that he's spot on about everything involving how these terrible writers that came in and then they just kind of conformed to this wokeness nonsense, and then it just destroyed comics entirely. This is why people are walking away, and I, for one, think that they are right to do that. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. You're notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.